Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to the Fastest Podcast, the show where we talk about everything from the greatest overtakes to the fastest pit stops. Today, I'm only joined by one guest, and it is the man who simply goes by Pigeon.
Hello, everyone.
How are you today, sir?
Pretty good. Good day for news in the world of F1. A great race in Silverstone, and then now we have some pretty interesting news at Red Bull. So
Yeah, and I mean, that's off the back of the F1 movie coming out as well, which is F1 movie, a new wave of fans coming in, and all of a sudden you've got an incredible British Grand Prix and some big news which we'll touch on. But first, let's hear we're a few days out. It's currently Wednesday after the British Grand Prix. So what are your thoughts now that the dust has settled a bit?
well, first off, we had the second wet weather race of the season, which was, rain is always exciting in F1, especially when it's changing conditions. So we had the race, which started basically dry except for the final sector. Verstappen on pole, which was kind of bittersweet. And then, of course, hunted by the McLarens and Hamilton and Leclerc and Russell. It was a pretty good race. We saw some pretty heavy rain and a surprise guest on the podium as well, which the racing itself was great anyways, which you always see in the rain. What were your thoughts?
It wasn't the race that I expected it to be going into the weekend. I thought there'd be Silverstone always shows up a little bit of drama, and any Brits watching will know exactly what the weather's like in England. It's so changeable. We saw it was sunny one minute, torrential downpour the next, and sunny again after that. You had Piastri's penalty, you had Max spinning, you had cars off the road left, right, and centre. It was not a very good day to be a rookie. We'll put it that way. And a new winner, a home winner, and as you said, a special guest on the podium. Nico Hulkenberg, after 239 race starts, finally gets his podium. That's headline of the weekend for sure.
And not just a podium from 19th on the grid. Holding back a seven-time world champion in a Ferrari for, I don't know how many laps, like 10, 12 laps. He had to fend off Hamilton.
I think he was quicker at one point as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. And I think it was just a fairy tale for him. He did so well. He's come close so many times, and he really deserved it. So, Hulkenberg,
Yeah, you look back at it comes to mind a German Grand Prix where he got so close. I think he spun out just towards the end of the race. But yeah, it just goes to show right tyre, right time, and you will end up with a good finish in the race. And he was the right tyre, he was the right time. He got past Stroll at a good point, and he was at times faster than Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, we've seen Ferrari struggle throughout the entire season so far. So Hamilton was not too happy with his car, but Hulkenberg did really well. He was fast. He was faster than most, as it turned out. Did the right strategy calls, and it finally paid off for him. So it's good to see.
Yeah, touching on Lewis again, it shows his skill. He is a seven-time world champion for a reason. He wasn't happy with his car. He struggled all weekend, changeable conditions, and he's still got a P4. It's not really races that he wins, but it's races like that where he drags the car to a P4 that shows his skill and probably shows how comfortable he is at Silverstone. Hence his, I think it was 9 or 14 consecutive podiums before today and 9 wins. It shows his skill. It shows why he's a champion.
Also at Silverstone, it's a great track. And it's really a driver's track, it's got fast corners. If you don't have the balls, then you won't do very well. It was. Silverstone always delivers, in my opinion. But this one definitely was one of the best of the last few years. Just magic.
Yeah, even last year, you look at Lewis winning in a car that wasn't the best. Again, changeable conditions a little bit there. it just goes to show that he is a master of Silverstone and a master of changeable conditions, and another reason why he is a world champion. But another story of the weekend, Lando Norris, a win at Silverstone, a win at his home Grand Prix. But you have to feel for him a bit because it was overshadowed. But we can't forget that he did win at his home Grand Prix, and it was a great drive.
Yeah, he did well in qualifying. P3. He was strong all weekend, and he said before the weekend, if I can win any one race, I want to win the British Grand Prix, and he did.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean he was P3. Then of course Verstappen had a little spin in the safety car restart, so he was P2, and then with the pit stops, Piastri picked up a penalty. So he was in front, and he basically held the lead and won. So yeah.
yeah. So the question that I posed you, as you touched on it there with Piastri's penalty, does Lando Norris win the British Grand Prix without Piastri's penalty?
I think they would have fought until the end if not for the penalty. It was pretty quick. We were both pretty quick, especially you saw in the first stage of the race. You saw Piastri just coming at Verstappen, left, right, tried everything, and eventually, old Inters, and he just blasted past. You saw Norris also getting close, and then of course with all the safety cars that we had, we didn't have many laps where actual racing was happening. And then,
Yeah.
But once Norris and Piastri were released from the rest of the pack, you saw that they were basically equal on pace.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because you'd have liked to have seen them race, but if you look on pace from where they were on track, they were very equal. And it's like Piastri did say, if the penalty wasn't fair, swap back and we'll race. And I do think they would have actually raced. I don't think one would have raced away with it. So it's hard to say who would have won, especially with it being on intermediate tyres and then onto dries and changing track and all the contributing factors. But yeah, it was an interesting decision for the 10-second penalty. I think maybe a 5 could have been fair, but Lando Norris won, and I don't think he's going to be complaining about anything that happened there.
No, I mean you get another 7 points to your teammate in the driver's title fight. You win at home, which the British Grand Prix is always a special one. I mean the race was already magic, but Norris winning makes it just extra special. The race. I think it was a strategic nightmare in the sense that the conditions were so changeable that you really couldn't make the right call. You saw people pitting before the red lights were even off, and then people went off, and then we switched all to the mediums, and then we switched all to the inters. It was really a race of being on the right tire at the right time. Some nailed it, some got to know the gravel up close. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Martin Brundle said on his grid walk. With the rain in the pit stop, just like waiting for an avocado to ripen, you wait for ages for the window and you almost always miss the boat.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, the grid is so close nowadays. Anyways, you saw it with how mixed up the top 10 was after like the first couple of pit stops. We had Stroll in P3 at some point, Hamilton in P3, which of course is not a rare occasion, but still he hasn't been in a podium all season. And then Hulkenberg, of course, in that final slot. It was the grid is pretty close, and especially if you throw in rain, you can never expect or predict what's going to happen. I actually looked up the odds if you were to bet on a Hulkenberg podium. You would have almost 100 times your money. So, yeah, if you were a betting man, you could have seriously made bank this weekend. But,
It's not something you think to check, is it, Hulkenberg podium? Yeah.
No.
But that's what I'd like to know, is how many people actually did bet on it.
I didn't see any headlines with man earns so many thousand euros, but Yeah,
Yeah,
it's something you love to see him on the podium. He really deserved it. Someone who missed the podium this time was, of course, Verstappen. Got pole, and then with a really low downforce setting in the rain, it's not the best combo, especially at Silverstone. Spun at the safety car restart, and then dragged this car to P5 eventually, while his teammate was in the bottom five for most of the race.
once
So yeah,
again,
you saw
second
Red
second
Bull.
seat nowhere to be seen.
I mean, yeah, but in this case, it was also kind of the weather that threw a curveball, of course. But we've seen Red Bull be really, really down in the dumps for the past couple of race weekends. So, which maybe also led to the big news that came out today, which was Christian Horner being sacked as team principal and CEO. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts
that
about
was.
it?
Well, yeah, that was not something I was expecting. It did kind of come out of nowhere. Um, I don't even know where to start. One of the theories floating around is that with the Max to Mercedes news, and we all knew that Jos Verstappen and Christian Horner haven't got on for a while now. So was there something where Max said, if Horner stays, I go, and the Red Bull hierarchy said, well, we're choosing Max over Christian. That's one theory that was floating around. Whether there's any truth behind that, we don't know, but we know how much sort of power Max has behind the scenes. Obviously, the controversy last season that went on with Horner and his, I think, assistant it was at the time, and all the allegations that were made could have contributed to it, and race results haven't been great. And then, is there a more perfect time if you are to sack your team principal than when you are in the summer break? So, yeah, it wasn't something I was expecting. Is it a good decision? We'll find out. Lauren Meckies now takes over as well. So obviously, he's been with VCarb, who was had about 15 different names in the last 6 months, it seems.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will soon see with the second half of the season how well Red Bull recover or just plummet with new ownership in charge.
I mean, I think this change is more having an effect towards next season rather than this season. Um, I think Red Bull has lost so many important people over the last year, with Jonathan Whitley leaving the team for Sauber, which is going to become Audi next year. Adrian Newey leaving for Aston Martin. Perez being sacked last year, which also created a little bit of instability, which then, of course, sparked a conversation about who's going to be the next driver next to Verstappen, which, let's be fair, hasn't been successful this year.
No.
Yeah, it's been a mess at Red Bull, and I think this is one of those final straw moments, which we could see. I think the end of Red Bull, especially as a top team, because this is just one of those things that it can't be good for the team. Yeah,
Yeah, I think I can see with Horner now leaving, I can see a shift in how the team is ran. We could see a lot how Horner always, I mean, I don't want to say it, but he favoured Verstappen a bit. The car was obviously built towards Verstappen, and Horner even said that himself. So is there now going to be a shift in that where the car is now built to two drivers, and we start to see Verstappen maybe can't perform in the car, and then the second driver maybe now starts to perform, but they're both a mid-table team where Max has dragged the car up because it's so towards him. It's going to be interesting to see, and like you said, it shifts to 2026 now, rather than the focus on the rest of this year, and it'll be interesting to see if Max stays, how he performs next season.
yeah, because that's also been a big topic of conversation, of course. Verstappen has a contract until 2028 with Red Bull. There were some performance clauses in there as well, which were changed, and then they weren't there, and then they were triggered, and then they weren't triggered. So
Yeah,
eventually, all we know is he has a contract, which he repeats every time he's asked the question. Um, we saw on media day in Silverstone that he was surrounded by, I think, a gazillion reporters, all asking if he's going to be moving to Mercedes next year. Um, at this point, you have to wonder, is there a deal? When will we hear it? It's yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely going
This
to be a big shift waiting on this Verstappen move, and you alluded to that picture of him at the media day. He was not only did he have everyone around him, he just looked so dejected in that picture, and people are saying that you know it's there's always a little bit of a stigma around Max that he's a bit of a sulky child if he doesn't win. But I think there's more to it. If you look now with this news of Horner going, was he just unhappy in the team as it was, or was it a case of he's unhappy because he's not winning? I think it's the formula. He is just a bit unhappy in the team and the setup at the moment, and maybe that contributes to Horner leaving.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could also have it a little bit on the opposite side, of course. I think the unhappiness leads to worse performance of the team in general, and that
Yeah,
also then indirectly causes them to perform even worse. And then it's just a downward spiral going on and on and on. We've of course heard rumors of trouble at Red Bull since the start of last year, with of course the Horner allegations, and then a potential break between Marco and Horner, and then Marco was set to leave because he was unhappy,
yeah,
and then Verstappen came out and he said, "Well, if Marco leaves, I leave." Um, which it's just kind of threatening on top of one another. Um, yeah, I mean, couldn't have been good for the team. And then, of course, they had to find a new teammate for Max as well. They barely made it out with the driver's title last year. And this year, you see McLaren dominating. Verstappen often just reaches above the Ferraris and the Mercedeses. But you can't see a clear deficit to them at any point. Verstappen, he doesn't have the car that he wants, which, I mean, the Red Bull could be fast, but if his car doesn't do what he wants, I think it's kind of the same with Hamilton. He could be in a fast car. Ferrari is definitely faster than an Alpine, but if it doesn't do what you want it to do, then it's going to be harder to drive, and you're going to be unhappy. It's just how it is. Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, if you look sort of this time 2 years ago, we got to the summer break in 2023. Red Bull had won every single race at that point, and Max had won all bar two of them, and by some landslide. And he just went on after the summer break to keep on winning. You start 2024, and he's still in charge for pretty much the first half of the season until Lando starts to have a little bit of a fight back. But then Lando wasn't always there towards the end of the season. He was able to show his class a bit, especially in Brazil, take that win, claim the championship. I think it was a week later he claimed it, and it showed his class. And he comes into 2025 expecting maybe a close championship battle, and he's not even able to. I mean, forget about the McLarens. He's struggling to match the Mercedes at times. So you wonder sort of where that downfall has started. And as you said, they've lost key members in Wheatley and Newey, two key members of the team. And is that a factor of the downfall as well? And has Newey has Horner maybe lost a bit of confidence with the hierarchy, in the sense of he couldn't keep hold of his senior members.
Yeah, I mean, we've always seen kind of a co-leadership between Marco and Horner. They both had a say in the operations of Red Bull, and I think it was really when they had to find a replacement for Perez when they really didn't agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, they put Lawson in the car, and then 2 races later they pulled him out, which is the quickest demotion of any other driver, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, it was, in
And
my
actually,
opinion.
Lawson's done better now. He's moved.
I mean, yeah, but that's just a Red Bull car. Tsunoda was doing better when he was in the V carb as well. So
just have
I
3
think the
V
Red
carb
Bull's just a
seats.
shit car. I mean, they actually might,
Max has scored all the points anyway for Red Bull, so why not?
Yeah. But I think going into 2026, I think it's the final nail in the coffin for Red Bull. They won't be a top team next year, especially if Verstappen leaves.
Yeah. I mean, as well, you look at the regulation changes coming and key member losses, disruption in the team. It's going to be like a massive change of direction with only 6 or less than 6 months to go until testing starts in January. And then it could be a scramble from January to March until the season starts. So I don't think, at least until this time next year, we won't see them competing for race wins, just with how the team is going to be set up going forwards now.
I mean, it's an interesting puzzle for next year, of course, because we have both new engine regs and new aerodynamic regulations, which is two components which are changing. The previous changes, we've only had one of them change, either the engines or the aerodynamic components, but this time we have both. It'll be interesting to see how the grid shapes up next year, especially with how close it is this year. But as we've seen in the past, one of the teams will have a pretty big edge, and that will lead into the coming 4 years probably. But it's all speculation at this point, of course. But yeah, I mean, Horner leaving the team, it wasn't quite the surprise. I mean, it was a surprise that they dropped it today of all days, but I think it's been coming for a while now. We've speculated, we've heard rumors. Yeah, you can't be surprised about it, but it is a shock nonetheless.
Yeah, and I mean, he was interviewed, I think it was three or 4 weeks ago on Sky Sports F1, where he was asked about the possibility of him not being in the team, and he replied with, "He's going nowhere." The rumours were very much circulating at that point, and maybe you think he knew it was coming before the race weekend, or maybe he just found out afterwards. We will never know that, but it makes sense for them to drop it now that we're in the summer break, give themselves a bit of time to restructure going forwards. But yeah, it's a shock, and it's not a shock, as you said.
Yeah. Lauren Meckies, of course, is now taking over as both CEO and team principal. Former Ferrari team member. He's been in, I think, almost every single team over the years, including the FIA. What do you expect from him?
I think he's going to do quite well. He's obviously been part of that Red Bull family in the junior team for a while now. I think 2021, if I'm not mistaken, he joined there. So he's been involved in kind of that area of Red Bull. I think stepping up, he's going to do... I don't think he's going to do worse than Horner at the moment. I mean, as long as he doesn't have any allegations against him, he can't really go very much wrong. But I hope he does well. I hope he can make a name for himself in as Red Bull is at the moment a top team. And I wouldn't be against him turning Red Bull dominant again under him, and hopefully seeing two drivers in Red Bull dominant rather than just the one at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Verstappen can barely keep up, but he can step up over the rest of them. Yeah. I mean, I think Meckies has brought definitely some stability to VCARB. If you see how stable the car is this year, they're scoring points on a regular these days. Of course, they missed out because they crashed both the cars at Silverstone, which is something just dropped.
The magic of podcast recording.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. But yeah, both the cars were out. Lost crashed the car, and Hadjar was having trouble seeing in front of him, which is an entirely different issue. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help, but VCARB has been strong. I think they'll definitely be in the fight for P7 in the championship this year. And I think Mackies can turn Red Bull around to a certain degree. I think they can stick with the top four at least. If they play their cards right.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if he turns that second C curse around as well, or if that still hangs around itself.
I think he might need to call Danny Ricciardo for that one to lift the curse.
I've heard he's looking, but we'll never know.
I think we missed the fastest pit stop last time around. I think it was Red Bull with the fastest pit stop this time.
I believe, if I just look it up, it was not Red Bull. I think it was VCarb.
I think it was Red Bull. It's another with 2:05 seconds.
We'll find out momentarily. It was Red Bull. Yeah. So maybe they shouldn't have sacked Horner if they won the fastest pit stop award.
I mean,
it depends what you're going for.
I mean, to us, of course, it's pretty important, the fastest pit stop, but I mean, it's a matter of tenths of a second, as long as you don't go for a 3 or 4 second pit stop, you're basically fine. Ferrari has been very dominant in that area this year, which is surprising. But yeah, I mean, Red Bull, they've shown pretty decent pit stops over the last couple of races. It has been worse, so it's, luckily they're doing well in the one aspect. So, before we round off the podcast, is there any other thing you want to touch on or preview or?
No, but what I will do is I will pose 2 quick questions to you before we finish. I'm going to ask you for your Belgian Grand Prix winner. And as we're in silly season, it seems now, I'm going to ask you for one crazy prediction that will happen before the end of the season.
Belgian Grand Prix winner. Seeing how well Verstappen went in the qualifying, I think he's gonna win. Belgium always has been a pretty good circuit for him, so I think he's gonna have the pace to win. I also think that in the coming weeks he'll be announcing that he'll leave the team as a silly season prediction. Whether that be to go to a different team or to retire altogether, I'm going to leave open. I think the odds are 30-30-30. He either stays, he leaves for a different team, or he just leaves the sport.
Yeah, I can see that.
Do you want to go for pole position, maybe?
Oh, I'm going to.
That's a difficult one.
Belgian Grand Prix, Belgian Grand Prix pole position. Wow, I'm going to go Belgian Grand Prix pole. Oscar Piastri.
Piastri. I mean, he has been strong in qualifying this year, so it's no.
He's going to win that.
Okay. Well, everyone who listened in, thanks for joining us. And we'll be back next week with our mid-season review. Bye, everyone.
Looking forward to it already. Take it easy.
Bye-bye.